My fiancé remarked, "Your job is shameful. Just tell people you're a consultant." I replied, "Solid advice." So I transformed into a consultant for my own company without her knowledge. 6 months later, when Forbes featured me, her message was, "When were you going to tell me you were successful?" I answered, "You never inquired." Original post. I, 32, a male, had been engaged to Victoria, 29, for about a year and a half, and we had been together for 3 years. She worked in fashion marketing for upscale brands, always looking stylish and collaborating with influential people. On the other hand, I was a facilities manager at a mid-sized manufacturing firm. Not glamorous, but I earned a respectable $78,000 annually, with good benefits and stability. The trouble began around 8 months ago at her company's holiday gathering. It was a black-tie affair in a fancy hotel ballroom. Victoria introduced me to her co-workers, but when they asked about my job, she jumped in before I could respond. "He's in consulting," she said smoothly. I blinked. "Actually, She squeezed my arm tightly. "Management consulting. Very dull stuff." Later, in the car, I confronted her about it. What was that all about? She sighed as if I were a child who didn't grasp basic social interactions. "Brett, sweetie, those folks don't need to know you manage custodians and fix HVAC systems. I oversee a 40-person team and a $3 million budget. You're just a maintenance supervisor. It's embarrassing." That word, embarrassing, felt like I was something to be concealed. My job paid for half our lifestyle, Victoria. But it doesn't sound impressive at gatherings, does it? Just tell people you're a consultant. It's vague enough, and no one will ask further. I pondered this for a week. She was embarrassed by me and what I did for a living. The guy who ensured her favorite coffee shop had functional AC, who kept hospitals running efficiently, who made sure factories adhered to safety regulations. That was what she found humiliating. Fine. If she wanted me to be a consultant, I'd become one. I didn't quit my job right away, but I started a side venture. In facilities management, you learn a lot about efficiency, cost savings, compliance, and operations. Smaller companies often need that expertise, but can't afford full-time facilities managers. So I launched Meridian Operations Consulting. Just me, working evenings and weekends. My first client was a small medical practice with exorbitant energy bills. I reorganized their HVAC scheduling, renegotiated maintenance contracts, and saved them $4,000 a month. They referred me to 3 other practices. Victoria never inquired about my side hustle. She'd see me on my laptop and think I was just watching videos or something. When I mentioned having consulting calls, she'd roll her eyes and say, "Sure, babe." 3 months in, I had enough steady clients to equal my salary. I quit my facilities job and became a full-time consultant. When Victoria asked about it, I simply replied, "You were right. I became a consultant." She actually patted my head and said, "See, doesn't that sound better?" Update 1. The business grew faster than I anticipated. There's a huge demand for operational efficiency consulting, especially from companies that can't afford McKinsey prices but still need assistance. Within 4 months of going full-time, I had to hire 2 contractors to manage the workload. Victoria remained completely unaware. I worked from home, but she never asked about my work. When her friends inquired about my consulting, she would wave her hand dismissively and say, "Oh, boring business stuff. Let's discuss something interesting." Meanwhile, my boring business stuff was bringing in $30,000 a month. I secured a contract with a regional hospital network to revamp their facilities operations, saving them $2.3 million each year. They became my case study for larger pitches. Here's the kicker. I kept our finances separate. Victoria insisted on this early in our relationship because she earned more initially and wanted independence. Perfect. She never saw my business accounts. I maintained our lifestyle just as before. Same apartment contribution, same dinners out, same vacation budget. Putting all extra earnings into growing the business and saving. Victoria noticed nothing because she never asked. 5 months in, I hired a PR firm, not a brag, but I genuinely needed help managing inquiries and building my brand. They suggested I apply for some industry recognition. I thought, why not? Then Forbes called, wanted to feature me in a piece about 30 under 35 entrepreneurs revolutionizing traditional industries. My PR person had pitched them on how I was changing facilities consulting to make it accessible for smaller businesses. They requested an interview, which took place during Victoria's work hours, along with a photo shoot. When they asked about my motivation, I kept it straightforward. I saw a market gap and filled it. The article wouldn't publish for another month, and I said nothing to Victoria. Update 2. The Forbes article went live on a Tuesday morning with a headline, "From Facilities Manager to Multi-Million-Dollar Consultant, How Brett Morrison Built Meridian Operations in 6 Months." Multi-million was technically correct, based on projected annual revenue from current contracts. The article included photos of me with client executives and testimonials about cost savings. My phone buzzed at 7 a.m. with LinkedIn notifications, emails, and texts from former colleagues and college friends congratulating me. Victoria was in the shower, and her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I noticed her best friend Cassandra's name popping up repeatedly. When Victoria came out, towel wrapped around her, she grabbed her phone. Her face went through multiple expressions as she scrolled. "Brett, what is this?" "I was making coffee." "What's what?" She held up her phone, showing the Forbes article. "Why is Forbes writing about you?" "Oh, they wanted to feature the consulting firm." "What consulting firm?" "Meridian Operations, my company." She stared at me as if I had grown a second head. "Your company? Since when do you have a company?" "Since you told me to be a consultant about 6 months ago." "Why didn't you tell me?" I sipped my coffee. "You never asked." She actually screamed, like full-on screamed. "I never asked. You're in Forbes, and you didn't think to mention it? You said my work was boring. You told people not to ask me about it at parties. Why would I burden you with the details?" Her phone continued buzzing as she read messages in real time, her face getting redder. "My friends are asking why I didn't tell them my fiancé was successful. Cassandra just sent me the article with, 'Girl, why were you hiding this?' What am I supposed to say? The truth that you didn't know because you never asked about my embarrassing job?" She tossed her phone onto the bed. "This is insane. We're getting married in 4 months, and you've been running a secret company." "It's not a secret. It's registered, has a website, pays taxes. You just never looked. I've been taking calls in front of you for months. You assumed they weren't important." That's when the real kicker happened. Her phone rang her mom. Victoria answered on speaker. "Hi, Mom. Victoria Marie Thornton. I just saw the Forbes article that Jennifer forwarded me. Your fiancé is a millionaire, and you never mentioned it. Do you know how this makes our family look? Jennifer's daughter's boyfriend just made partner at some law firm, and she's been bragging for weeks. Meanwhile, your fiancé is in Forbes, and I'm finding out from her. This is humiliating." Victoria hung up and glared at me. "You did this on purpose." "Did what? Became successful?" "Yeah, I guess I did." Update 3. The next few days were utterly chaotic. Victoria went through the 5 stages of grief, but each one somehow revolved around her. Denial. This must be a mistake. Forbes must have exaggerated. I showed her our business bank statements, revealing 6 figures in monthly revenue. She gasped. Anger. "You lied to me for months." "I never lied. I told you I became a consultant." "You literally patted my head like I was a dog learning a trick." Bargaining. "Okay, I shouldn't have called your job embarrassing, but we can work through this. We're a team, aren't we? Because teammates usually know what position the other one plays." Depression. She cried to her friends about my betrayal, posting vague Instagram stories about trust and relationships, and going through a tough time. Acceptance. This is where things got interesting. By day 3, Victoria completely rewrote history. At dinner with her friends, she suddenly became the supportive fiancé who encouraged me to start my own business. "I always knew Brett had potential," she said while I sat there shocked. "That's why I push him to aim higher than facilities management." Cassandra appeared skeptical. But you said I motivated him through tough love. Victoria interrupted. Sometimes people need that push. I excused myself to the bathroom and didn't return for 15 minutes. When I came back, Victoria was showing her friends' properties on her phone. Now that Brett's business is thriving, we can finally upgrade. I'm thinking something downtown, maybe a penthouse. We haven't discussed moving, I said. She laughed. Don't be silly, babe. We can't stay in that tiny apartment now. That evening, she tried to seduce me. Lingerie, candles, the works. I'm so proud of you, she whispered. My successful man. We're going to be such a power couple. I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. Victoria, we need to talk about the wedding. She smiled. I know. We can afford to upgrade everything now. I'll call the planner tomorrow. I want to postpone it. Her smile froze. What? I need time to think. This whole situation has shown me that we have fundamental issues. What issues? You're successful. I'm successful. We're perfect together. You didn't even know what I did for a living. You were embarrassed of me. That was before you knew I had money. She had the audacity to look offended. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? It's about you hiding things from me. About trust. I laughed. Actually laughed. You want to talk about trust? You told me to lie to people about my job. You never once asked about my day, my work, my dreams. You treated me like an accessory that needed polishing for public display. I was trying to help you. No, you were trying to help yourself. You were embarrassed of me. Update 4. Victoria went into overdrive after I postponed the wedding, but not publicly. Oh no, she was too clever for that. Publicly, she was a supportive fiancé, standing by her man during his overwhelming success adjustment period. Privately, she unleashed psychological warfare. First, she tried to gain access to the business. We're engaged, Brett. We should merge our finances now. It's what couples do. You wanted separate finances, remember? For independence. That was before you had a company. Partners share everything. We're not married, and the business is solely under my name. Then she attempted to insert herself into operations, showing up at my home office during client calls, dressed to the nines, introducing herself as co-founder. I had to send a company-wide email clarifying the organizational structure. That didn't go over well. Then came the ultimatum dinner. She made reservations at the most expensive restaurant in town. Brett, I've been patient, but we need to set a new wedding date. I'm not ready. It's been 3 weeks since Forbes. How much time do you need? Victoria, do you love me? Of course. Why? She listed my qualities. Ambitious, successful, driven, going places. What about before, when I was just a facilities manager? You were different then. How? You weren't living up to your potential. So, you didn't love me then? I loved who you could become. There it was, the truth. And if the business fails tomorrow, if I go back to facilities management. She was quiet for a long time. Why would you even say that? Because I need to know if you love me or my bank account. That's unfair, isn't it? You literally told people I was a consultant because my real job embarrassed you. Now you're planning penthouses and destination weddings. What changed, Victoria? Me or my net worth? She stood up, threw her napkin down. I don't have to listen to this. When you're ready to appreciate what I bring to this relationship, call me. She stormed out, leaving me with a $400 check, which I found ironically fitting. Update 5. Victoria's efforts to salvage our relationship lasted exactly 1 more week. During that time, she had her mom call me about not throwing away something special, sent flowers to my office, which went to my apartment building's front desk, posted multiple Instagram photos of us with captions about weathering storms together, and told mutual friends that I was having a mental health crisis from the pressure. That last one infuriated me enough to take action. I called our mutual friends for a dinner party. My treat. Victoria was invited. At dinner, after a few drinks, I pull up my phone. So, Victoria's been saying I'm having a mental health crisis. I want to show you all something. I played a recording. Yeah, I had been recording our conversation since the Forbes article. Legal in our state as long as one party consents. Victoria's voice filled the private dining room. His job is embarrassing. He manages janitors. I just tell people he's a consultant, so I don't have to explain that my fiancé is basically a glorified maintenance man. Everyone fell silent. Then I played another recording from after Forbes. I always knew he had potential. I pushed him to be better. Really, I deserve credit for his success. And the kicker from our last fight. If he thinks I'm staying with him if this business fails, he's delusional. I have standards. Our friend group erupted. Half were disgusted with Victoria. The other half were mad at me for recording her. I didn't care. The truth was out. Victoria called me screaming that night. You played private conversations to our friends. You told them I was mentally unstable. I provided evidence to the contrary. I'm done. We're over. You're manipulative. Cool. I'll box up your stuff. And I want my ring back. The ring you picked out that made me buy because it was an investment? Sure, I have the receipt and appraisal showing it's worth 30% less than we paid. You can have it. I also want compensation. For what? Emotional distress. Defamation. You humiliated me. You humiliated yourself. I just provided the audio. She hung up. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. Final update. Victoria's last move was both predictable and pathetic. She went full social media influencer mode, pivoting to a heartbroken but strong, independent woman. She started a blog called Dating Up, When Success Changes Your Partner. Every post was a thinly veiled attack on me. How I'd changed, become money-obsessed, and forgotten where I came from. The irony was incredible. She was literally monetizing our breakup with affiliate links and sponsored content about healing from toxic relationships. But she made one crucial mistake. She included details about my business, claiming she'd been an unofficial advisor and demanding credit for my success. She even posted behind-the-scenes content suggesting she'd helped land major clients. My lawyer sent her a cease and desist. She ignored it. So, I did what any good consultant would do. I provided data. I created a simple website titled The Truth About Meridian Operations, outlining the company's founding timeline, all documentation proving sole ownership, client testimonials stating they'd never met Victoria, and the kicker, a recording of her saying, "I don't care about your boring business stuff," when I tried to tell her about landing the hospital contract. I didn't publish it, but privately sent her the link with message. Remove all references to my business from your blog in 48 hours, or this goes live. She called immediately. You wouldn't dare. Try me. This is blackmail. This is something management. You want to monetize our breakup? Fine. But you don't get to lie about my business. I'll sue you. With what money? The influencer revenue from your 2,000 followers. She scrubbed her blog that night, but the internet never forgets. Her friend saw it, screenshot it, and the truth was already out there. 3 months later, I ran into Cassandra at a coffee shop. How's Victoria? I asked. You don't know? We don't talk. She's dating some crypto guy. Keeps posting about finally finding someone on her level. He drives a leased Lamborghini and lives with 3 roommates. Sounds about right, Brett. She messed up. She knows it. Does she, though? She saw your company just got that government contract, the $10 million won. She cried for a week. Not my problem anymore. Cassandra stir her coffee. For what it's worth, we all knew she was wrong about your job being embarrassing. My dad was a plumber. The best man I ever knew. Victoria she got lost in the image. She didn't get lost. That's who she always was. 6 months after breakup, Forbes did a follow-up piece. The consultant who doubled down. Meridian Operations Explosive Growth. This time, they asked about work-life balance and relationships. I kept it simple. Success means nothing if the people around you only value your net worth. I learned that lesson the expensive way, but it was worth the tuition. Victoria texted me after it was published. That was about me, wasn't it? I replied, you never asked. Then I blocked her. The business now has 23 employees and offices in 3 cities. We just secured a contract with a major university system. My biggest regret isn't the relationship ending. It's that I ever allowed someone to make me feel ashamed of honest work. Oh, and I still list my official title as former glorified maintenance supervisor in my email signature. Clients love it. It's authentic, humble, and shows I understand operations from the ground up. Victoria still tells people she dated that Forbes guy at gatherings, according to mutual acquaintances. Apparently, she leaves out the part where she didn't know about the Forbes article until it was published. The best revenge wasn't building a successful company out of spite. It was proving that the embarrassing facilities manager she was ashamed of had more business savvy than she ever acknowledged. Every contract I sign, every client I assist, every employee I hire is a reminder that expertise isn't about image. It's about value. And that's something Victoria never understood. Last I heard, the crypto boyfriend's Lamborghini got repossessed. Victoria's Instagram went private after that. Cassandra says she's taking a social media break to focus on personal growth. Sure, she is. Meanwhile, I just hired my 24th employee, a brilliant operations analyst who spent 10 years as a janitor while earning her night school MBA. Victoria would probably find her background embarrassing. I find it inspiring. That's the difference between us. I see value in people's work and experience. She only saw surface-level prestige. Guess which perspective builds multi-million-dollar businesses? You never have to ask.